Holy smokes, there's two of them. We got two guys already instantaneously. How you guys doing? Rex here. We have my lovely wife, Mrs. Rex. This actually is the one that takes good care of me, keeps me well fed. She's a sweetheart. She was trying to run the camera before. A little too much work, a little too stressful. I understand it's a tough job. So I said, why don't you just come be with me on one of the live streams and help me manage questions, because when I'm talking about stuff, I get tunnel vision and I lose track of where I'm at. And she is very good at remembering. Oh, and see, look at this. She's getting me all hooked up, straightening out my collar and everything, making me look professional. And she's a good sweetheart. I just got back from a big long trip on the road, as you guys know. We just did our Combat Command Fire Field Training exercise, which was actually quite a pretty interesting course. We got a lot of stories coming out about that in the future. I'm sure if you talk to one of the gentlemen that was there, they will tell you some stories, man. And there's a lot to be learned from that as well, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But what I want to show you tonight here is this cool weapon setup. Okay. Now, for those of you who maybe saw the original video not too long ago, I did a little tour through the Steyr Academy with my good friend Eduardo, and he kind of showed the lineup. What I was able to secure from him, at least for a testing and analysis of this weapon, was the SSG. Okay, you guys remember the SSG-69s back in the day? Nowadays they got the SSG-08A1. This is a very, very commonly deployed sniper rifle made by Steyr. Now, Steyr is not an American company. That's an outfit overseas. And you guys can learn more about Steyr if you want to watch that first video we did about all the details. But this specific rifle had some unique characteristics to it that I thought were interestingly executed. Now, a lot of times in general, you'll find features on rifles that seem like they would be desirable. The problem is you have to properly execute that in the engineering, and then the quality control has to be in place to verify that it works. And then you need someone with some expertise to come up with a sound design that will have some kind of field ruggedness. Hey, how you guys doing? Yep. And so what we got going on here, and you guys seen the video probably, I think it was a live stream, I don't remember, hanging out with Mr. Val. We were trying to decide what would be a good fit for this rifle. I was going to throw a PM2 on here, but I like interesting stuff. And I like to go extra rugged. What I decided to go with was the IOR Valdada 3.5 to 15 by 50 millimeter. Okay. Now this is a 308 caliber rifle, so that's right in that ballpark. That's not a bad choice in terms of equipment. Kind of a unique scope. This is actually a classic. This has been around for a long time. You have your big turrets here. What was interesting was this particular mount has 0 degrees of cant, if I remember correctly. This really nice one-piece scope mount, which I'll show you in a minute here, has 0 cant. And when we mounted the scope on there, it was exactly perfectly dead on in terms of its 0, which is good. So they did it good. But beside all that, it's a nicely configured optic for what the applications would be for a 308 caliber actual duty rifle. You have your windage here. You have your secondary impact indicator right here, built into the turret knob. We talked about that a little bit earlier. That's nice for several reasons. If you're zoned in on a primary target, but you have a secondary target that is at a different distance, or you anticipate you might have some kind of action there, you have it all drawn out on your range card. You got your dope on your range card to each target reference point. You can have your scope actually indexed for the primary target, and then you just move this over to the firing solution where you would need to take out that secondary, just line that up. So that's kind of a neat feature. Besides that, this thing's built like a tank, guys. You'll see on this particular scope, don't worry about it, babe, this really blocky mechanism right here. We have the illumination is actually a couple of buttons right here, okay? This is your parallax turret on the side. This is attached with thumb screws. This is a one-piece mount, actually. One-piece mount. The thumb screws do have a hex head on here. I use fix-it sticks If you go on their website, you can find really good stuff you can use. I think it's a Rex 5 or a Rex 10 code or something like that. Or just buy them. I don't care, man. But that's what a lot of guys that I know who are real professional go into. Is very modular, and he has a whole bunch of different torque specs you can go, but it doesn't take up a huge amount of space. I went with 50 inch-pounds on these right here, okay? And then the rings on top, they come together on top here, and they're self-aligning. One of the nice things about the Valdada optic, it's a very subtle thing. If you look carefully behind the elevation turret, you see that little white indexing mark? If you're running these particular rings, if you index that little white mark right there that you can maybe barely see, if you have a full-size screen, you'll see it. With this ring, it's like pretty darn leveled. I didn't have to make any adjustments. Usually you'll find that it's sometimes a little tricky to get it done, but that's something that worked out good. This particular mount is available from Valdada as well, and it's made by American Rifle Company. It's the M10QDL. So with 2 spins on here, you can remove the scope and put it on something else. The general configuration of this optic that's on this rifle, we got a sunshade on here right now. It's kind of that long classic design. If you watched my videos earlier, you know what the magic is. If you don't, come to a seminar. We'll explain the basic geometry of how optics are configured and how you can make prejudiced judgment calls on how a scope's going to perform, what some of its limitations are going to be by the external shape of the optic. So that's something that some guys find interesting as well. All right, so that's the scope we chose for this. Very nice. The illumination, by the way, just lights up the center dot, so you don't got bleed over, and it minimizes how much is going to come back in your face. So it's kind of built for like tactical applications, right? Let's talk about the SSG-08A1. Now this is different than in many ways than the SSG-69 from back in the old days, which is a really good rifle. This one has, of course, you got some modularity. You got your rails there. You can move your rails around. You got a long rail all the way across the top. You can mount a VAS up here like a PVS 30 or 27, whatever you want to run. You can take the sunshade off. You can put all your fancy top secret ninja equipment on there. The bipod's actually pretty nice, very quickly detachable here. If I had more arms, I'd do it for you. I'm not going to ask Mrs. Rex to do it, but it's built like a tank. It's very heavy duty. It has tensionable. It's tensionable on the bottom. You just turn this big dial. You don't need any special tools. You can get that tight for cant. Okay, so it's a nice canting bipod. These legs are flat design. You can make a few minor adjustments on those. We'll talk about that when we do the comprehensive review. Do you notice something interesting on the action on this rifle? See this deal right here? Dust cover. That's actually a good idea, in my opinion. And it's actually going to like that. Okay? The bolt, of course, if you know, Steyr is a 4-lug bolt. So you get quite a bit more strength in there. In all reality, only 2 of the lugs, maybe 3, are actually going to be in contact with the deal anyways. But that's like what we call a ruggedness and a very, very good increase in heavy dutiness. These are built for guys that are going to be using them heavy. And nobody knows what kind of ammunition, storage discipline they're going to have when they're in the field. They might find battlefield ammo laying around. Stuff can get severely overpressured. It's nice to have an overbuilt bolt. The general feel of this weapon is actually very, very nice. 4-lug bolts are a little bit stiffer, but actually this one's really good. This is a very nice bolt. You got the tactical style knob there, okay? Now, you guys have maybe never seen this. The Steyr rifles have an interesting safety on them. And I like Tang safeties because that's what I kind of grew up on, right? But this is the go time, I believe, right? So I've been on the road for a couple weeks. I just got home. I haven't slept, literally. So I'm still performing maybe on a few cylinders. So we're going to try out the trigger here. 2-stage trigger. We got about this much play. And we're going to touch her off right now. Hopefully not through the kitchen window. That wouldn't be very good, would it? Okay, so I'm going to come here, and I'm going to give you my assessment here real quick. It's a nice two-stage trigger. There is adjustability in that trigger. I wouldn't mess with it. I would leave it right there. Guys always want the lightest trigger. There's reasons why they engineer rifles the way they do. This is a sniper rifle. This trigger was engineered to be safe in all circumstances, and not just safe, but the most effective. You got to remember that adrenaline changes how you perceive trigger pull weight, okay? But it's a nice two-stage trigger pull. It's actually, even for target shooting that we were doing the other day, it's hard to explain. You just have to see it in real life. If you ever do want to try one of these out, by the way, if it's something you've never seen before and you want to get a chance to shoot one, you can take the Steyr Academy with Eduardo and use one of the rifles, and they won't charge you for the rifle to use it, to try it. And if you want to buy it at the end, then you can buy it at the end. A couple other really neat features that I thought were cool on the safety here. You see that deal right here, guys? If I turn that back, like, hold on. Cock it, okay? So if I turn it back like this, see how there's a little pop-up deal that pops up? And now I can actually push the bolt handle down. See what I did? The bolt handle is now locked more down. Let's go like this. Now the bolt handle's in its actual deployable condition, where you can just grab it, work your rounds and such like that. But a lot of times you want to reduce the footprint of the weapon, sideways, because they get thick. A lot of times this bolt handle's what gets in the way. It sticks out and makes it not fit in your case with all the other stuff in your drag bag. So it's nice to get this down. All you simply do is get this like back here like this, the safety, and then if you can watch the bolt handle, watch this. Now it's locked inside and it's locked up. It ain't going nowhere until you go ahead and go like this. Now you're ready to rock and roll. Kind of a unique feature, something you're not going to find a lot on the American market, okay? Now the magazines on these rifles are cool. In that bag, sweetheart, is there any ammunition left over for 308? Man, I wish I would have grabbed one. There might be some in that pile of ammunition on the kitchen counter over there. I don't know. You got any 308s laying around someplace? Is that 308? It really is?
Yeah, but it's empty.
Yeah, geez. Gosh darn it. Anyways, we're live. So to make a long story short, you can put in the full length 175 grain bullets in here, and you have a huge amount of extra room in the front. And it actually feeds reliably. So you have a lot of loading flexibility. If you have very, very long loads, oh cool, where'd you find that?
In the case.
I don't know what kind of ammo this is. Okay, so we'll put, I think these are 175. This looks like one M118 or something like that. So we'll just drop that in there like so. See how much extra room we got in this magazine, guy? This is a Steyr magazine. So you got that much extra. You got a lot of extra room for reloading. If you want to load really long bullets, or if you're one of these guys that believes you got to kiss the lands to have some magical power. Now that's true in American semi-chambered spec rifles, especially if you have any misalignments. But the way this rifle is actually engineered and the way it's machined is interesting. That problem has been very much mitigated. You can actually have the CIP chamber and have a lot better performance with any amount of jump. There's just not really a problem. That's something that's a good, interesting discussion. Another thing you guys can see, and we'll talk about this in the comprehensive review too. I don't want to give you too much away. The comprehensive review will just be more scenic, where you'll see us shooting it, and we'll have more rounds on it by then. But on the magazine, there's 2 lockup points. You see that? Here's the button right here to push them in, but there's 2, and I'll turn it sideways. You see 2 little knobs? Now, why in the heck would you want that? Okay, so let's insert the magazine all the way. Okay, let's say I'm fully loaded. I'm blasting through. All of a sudden, I want a single feed because whatever reason. I might have a different batch of ammo for a different application. All I do is I hit this button, and remember how there's 2 notches? The magazine is now hanging down lower. Now I can just drop that round in the chamber, and I'm not going to do it in the wife's kitchen with her in here because that's disrespectful to blowing out the windows and all that stuff, right? Oh, you appreciate that, sweetie?
I do.
She does appreciate it. So, but you can have a fully loaded magazine, and if all of a sudden you need a tracer, sometimes in situations you'll need a tracer or an incendiary round or something like that, or an AP round. You can just drop out your precision normal, ammo like this, and then you can just single feed on top of there as many as you need. When you're ready to get back in the game, you just pop it all the way in there, and now you're feeding off the magazine again. The way it works is very simple. You just drop it down to where it can't grab nothing. Want to see? We'll try that. I'm going to put it around in the magazine. It's all the way in. It will feed, right? See that? Okay, now let's try this again. This kitchen table has its butt kicked. I'm going to put the round in again. Now, I'm going to insert it all the way. If I would lock and cock it, it would shoot. But now I can drop it down to that second point. Now it's a single feed. Watch. Can you see it in there? I'm not grabbing that round out of there. I don't know if you guys can see that. But if I laid a round on top of there, I can single feed it. Not to beat a dead horse. It's a little bit weird. Definitely unique from stuff I've seen before. Some I wanted to show you. Okay, let's make sure I'm not going to blow a hole through the Berkey water filter over there. Berkey, the best water filters available. By Berkey. Okay, I got that in there. Right, now check this out. I don't know Berkey at all. I just drink the water out of that filter. I never trust anybody. But now, folding mechanisms, guys, if you come to my seminars, you'll hear my complex opinion on folding mechanisms. And after you take the seminar class, we get a lot of engineers and gunsmiths come to the seminars, and it's interesting. We get a lot of visiting in. And over the years, I've learned a lot just from hanging out with guys like that and from struggling with rifles that I had that sucked. And all it takes is a microscopic amount of wiggling anywheres in the buttstock on a bolt-action rifle, and it is detrimental to accuracy. You have a quarter-minute gun, all of a sudden it's like this, or like this, and you just have a little bit of play in there. For that reason, I've never trusted folding stocks. I've seen it a million times to where they wiggle. I'm telling you, this design is 100% freaking solid. Okay? It's a simple design. But it's the way it's configured and the alloys they use to put this together makes it it's the execution that makes it good. So you just simply pull it down like so, and you can lock it over here. When you want to unlock it, you simply just pull it down again, or you push up, vice versa, right? How did I do that again last time? There we go. Pull it out like that. And so you can lock it all the way closed, or you can open it. Why is that important? I prefer a fixed stock, but if it works good like this, it is nice because it's a lot shorter, and you can use a shorter case or a shorter, you can stick it in your deployment kit a lot more easily. More features, okay? We have numbers that actually show you where your cheek piece is adjusted. Simple cheek piece adjustment. You turn this deal here, you can come up, you can come down. Let's say, okay, when my buddy Bob is shooting it, we got to go on number 7 because his face is shaped like this. And when Steve shoots it, you go to number 4, and then you tighten it down there. And you can just remember where your sweet spot is, or if you have to do any kind of maintenance on the rifle, or if you want to bore sight it, do anything, remove the bolt like that. It's nice to have indexed numbers on there. So whoever thought of that, very good one, guys. Very good. Another nice thing, length of pull is adjustable and is very easy to do. We have a locking mechanism in here and then a quick button that we're going to push, okay? So in order to unlock this, see this lever down here on the bottom, guys? I have a little bit of room. If I show you on this side of the weapon right here, see if I can do this without wrecking anything. I'm going to push this button. The mechanism right here. When I push this button that I just showed you, it's moving out, okay? When I push that button, I can flip this down and unlock this deal. But it's still not moving, right? So it's not super tight, but it's not moving yet. Now I gotta find the button where I can move the buttstock back. I think it's this one. Well, let me show you guys so you can see. This button right here. I push that, now I can bring her back, okay? So let's get on the table. I'm gonna push the button back here where you can see it, and I can have my length of pull adjusted. Give me one second. Oh, I have it locked. So I can come all the way back here. I can come here, I can come here. You can remember how many clicks it is. Once you're in place, there's always this stuff we inspect for when you come to one of my live fire classes, because you will know. And by the way, at our live fire classes, we shoot at clay pigeons at 1,000 yards. That's what we like to do, okay? So there's a little bit of wiggle back here what would make a task like that a lot harder to do. So this lever here, you snap it in, it is tight, very tight, okay? Also, you have a lot of adjustment in your butt pad. You simply unscrew this deal, you can move it all the way down here if you're crazy. You can move it up higher if you're smart. I like to get it centered behind the axis of the board as much as possible. You got enough adjustment in your sheet piece, you can bring that up high. You can change the variability of your mounts to get this ergonomically perfect for whatever task you're trying to do. So that's an overview of the SSG-08. Did I show the bipod this time? Oh yeah, the monopod. Okay guys, you know that I'm not a monopod guy too, if you've come to the seminar. There are advantages to bags, especially the deployment of monopods is usually sucks. You gotta like turn screws and hit buttons and screw it all the way in or out or whatever, you know, or it slides around. And for internal ballistic reasons, I've always liked bags. I still do have a preference for bags, but I will tell you, in my honest opinion, this particular monopod design has been done smart. So I would put this in the category of monopods that does not suck, okay? Most monopods basically, I wouldn't get it. I wouldn't even, never use it. This one I've actually used, and I found it to be very easy to use. It's a push button. Can you see this? Okay, so there's gravity fed, but if you're deployed, I want you to see the button here. Let's say I get all lined up on the, I'm all lined up on the target down here, ready to kill the bad guy, whatever, but I'm not steady back here. I want to deploy my monopod. My non-firing hand thumb, if I'm right-handed, is right on the toe support, right exactly on the button, which is right here. Okay, so all I have to do is hit the button, it instantly perfect. And if you need to micro adjust it, because you will, it still screws in and out. You have a fine adjustment on the bottom here. You have your crude adjustments here, and then your fine adjustments here. Pretty smart, huh? When Eduardo was showing me this deal, I liked it. I thought it was pretty cool. So we're going to turn this all the way back in here. And then when I'm done with that sucker, I just hit this button and push it back up. Done. Pretty cool, huh? You know what else is pretty cool, guys? So that's just the basic. That ain't no comprehensive review. I did shoot, I only had 3 boxes of ammo. I let my compadre Seth hammer out a bunch of rounds out of it. We kind of knew what our dope was with 175s. So we're shooting at 1,000 yards. That's about the max effective range in all honesty with most ammunition, unless you're using some proprietary ammunition like Trom munitions with their, watch the video, okay? You can shoot a lot farther with Trom and a couple other designs like that. But with conventional ammo in the 308, about, 1,000's reasonable, maybe 1,100 if you really know what you're doing. I mean, I've shot through 308s way farther than that, but what you see is you lack consistency at a certain point. What was my story on ammunition I was going to tell about? Do you remember? Sorry. Oh yeah, so I only had a few boxes of ammo to shoot. My man Seth got it dialed in for me. He laid down there and hammered off some rounds. I have a certain style of videography I like to do, so I like to run the camera a lot so I can get the cool shot, it's all tactical and all this. And so Seth got to shoot the rifle, and then I laid behind it and started shooting, and it's pretty accurate, man. And you guys all know probably, I'll do a review very soon on cancer. I had cancer a couple years ago. I kicked its butt, I'm fine, but it does have lasting effects that suck. And so Seth noticed, because he was spotting for me, and actually I think he was filming from up front, but he could see the wind was very switchy. We were at Hawks Double Mountain Ranch in Rotan, Texas, a beautiful location for extreme long-range shooting. That's where our next ELR class is going to be. For those that don't know what that is, extreme long range. We teach you how to shoot beyond 1,000. Actually, ELR really starts at about a mile by most people's definitions. But we start you off at 1,000. We get all our inputs verified. Your inputs are not static deals. It always varies. The universe is infinitely complex. We get our inputs verified, and we start verifying how that evolves out there really far. And we find where that wall is, and when we get out to 2,500 meters, a lot of guys start to find out that they're losing their dynamic stability, and we even shoot out to 3,000. So we got from 1,000 to 3,000 yards is what we normally shoot. However, on this rifle, we're just shooting 1,000 yards. But my buddy Seth was telling me, hey man, you're kind of slow on like getting into position. I was using the monopod back here, right? There is advantages to using a toe support or just your fist. And so for a while there, I was shooting using my fist like this, and I can make my gross adjustments real quick. You got winds that were ranging from 1.5 mils to like 4.5 mils, just like that. Like boom, like wind switchy is crazy. And some really good spotters. HDMR, if you do go out there, them ranch hands ain't really just ranch hands. They're very talented. And they're really good at their wind holes. They shoot all the time out there. They're excellent folks. And they're cool on top of it. But at any rate, he's giving me continuous wind adjustment data. And you can't be slow. You have to shoot right now. If you lollygag, you're going to miss. Unless you got a good guy like I did. He's like, all right, 2.2, 2.5, 3. All right, hold that. Go back to 1.5. Because the wind changes that fast. Now you can find the statistical average. Well, just take the class. Come to the seminar. We'll tell you about wind. We'll tell you about the reality of wind. I'm always learning new information. We'll tell you about theories, and we'll tell you about the practical applications on how to actually deal with wind and understanding how wind's character actually really is in real life, because it's different than what some guys are. It's very hard to mathematically plot wind. All you get is a best guess. That's a whole nother topic. But at any rate, I was struggling with those quick instant wind adjustments. By the time I get on and I'm steady enough to start squeezing the trigger, it changes. And so this monopod was slowing me down a little bit, so I went to my fist. Well, then I get a little sloppier then, you're just using your fist. So then my buddy Seth hands me this thing right here. You guys ever see this? I'm sure you have. This is the new TAC 3 model, I believe, from Accuracy Solutions. I don't know if you can see Accuracy Solutions written on there. The mount has been dramatically improved. You simply latch it onto the rail in the front up here, like this. Okay, this mounts up here. It makes it look like a grenade launcher, but then we can throw on an Accu-Tac bipod, which is my favorite personal bipod, an Accu-Tac. Also available at Accuracy Solutions. But once we got that sucker on there, and we got some video footage, like all of a sudden, you don't need toe support besides your hand. You can just muscle it on target. You extend the length of how you are. So that's how we ended up shooting that day. We didn't have a million rounds through it, but we got a good heck of a start. We let some of the students try it out who wanted to see it, and it was pretty cool. Some other things that we found out during the Combat Command Fire class. For those that don't know what that is, I did a review defining what that means, combat command fire. Watch that video. Basically, we take the actual standards. If you read like in the military papers, or if you're familiar with the way the world works there, they'll consider the max effective range of a particular munition to be where you hit it 50% of the time on an E-type, like for small arm stuff, right? E-type is like crotch to head, 40 across, or 20 across, 40 tall, approximately, okay? And so their hit ratio to be effective is 50%. At our class, it's 100%. If you can't hit the target 100, and we have a qualification where you got to shoot, and we ask you, what range are you comfortable with hitting the target every single time with no excuses? I don't care if your bipod's screwed up, a loose with screw, you bumped a turret cap, all that stuff doesn't matter. You got to hit 10 for 10 and you only get one test. What's your comfortable range there? And all of a sudden, guys that I know personally can just knock the heck out of bottles at 1,000 yards. If you ask them 10 for 10 with a guaranteed hit rate, they start to get more honest. They might say like, okay, it's not 1,000, it's really like more like 500 or 300 or 200. That's why a lot of the old school curriculum is still being employed. If you got a high value target, man, what they usually tell you to do is to get close enough to make sure you hit it. My comfortable range, depending on the weapon system, something like this, even though you can reach out well beyond 1,000, if you had the right ammo, you could go a mile. I try to keep her inside 500 yards, man, because animate targets will move. It's all a function of time of flight. By the time the bullet gets there, the guy might have ducked. He might have had a mosquito that he swatted, and then you missed the area you were shooting at. Someone else might have walked in front of him, and you lost your high-value target. We're talking military applications there, guys. Or if you're deer hunting or whatever. Hey, bring Panda Bear over here. Oh, the Panda Bear. Yeah, I know. We're alive. This is Panda Bear. Yeah, I like Panda Bear. Panda Bear is my favorite. This is my kitty. Rambo, we had to lock in the garage because he just goes crazy. The second you're trying to like do something, he's just right there. Not very helpful. But another thing we learned out there, well, it's not that we learned, but that we demonstrated at the class, was the use of good quality optics. Okay, when you're trying to spot dudes, well, on day one, they're not really that sneaky as much as they normally would have been by day two. So they're easy to spot. You know, you just look over there. Oh, there he is. But after we get them fully saturated in the mud, we roll them around in the pig wallow out there in their ghillie, and we get them to roll around in the grass and the dry dirt. We get them all weathered out. We show them how to properly equip it with the vegetation, how to blend in. And we go through a whole speech of fieldcraft, and just everything involved with it. Those guys are hard to find. Like literally, you're looking for shine coming off of a spot on the side of maybe your windage turret where like when they use the rattle cam, they just missed a spot or it rubbed off. And now you got shiny black. That might be all you see. If they got a good position with a good loophole, and that loophole is only centered with kind of the line of sight here, you're going to have to be really good on your glass. You're going to have a good eyeball. I found what I used all weekend for the Combat Command Fire class, and these are dirty. I just touched the lens, gosh darn it. These are the Dr. 7 to 40Bs. These are actually military binoculars. These, I think, were East German. I think they still use them. These are pretty stout, very heavy duty. But I'm telling you what, they're basically, you just focus them one time for your eyeballs and you're good at any distance. Your eyes don't get tired. You can watch the review we did a little while ago on these. But for the money, man, they're more expensive than Walmart binoculars or like conventional over-the-counter, like sporting goods store binoculars and all that. But these things are incredible for finding guys trying to sneak up on you. Just get some. Just buy this binocular, okay? Like if you want to argue with me, that's fine. This is the best one I've ever seen right here. This is also available. Valdada also sells those too. Made in Germany, all that good stuff. We use these to spot our bad guys after you see something that's curious. Typically you scan with binoculars so you get a way wider field of view. You kind of look, and eventually when you see something that's a little weird, like a guy crawling around out there maybe or something like that, then you get your little buddy next to you over on the big eyeball, the spotting scope. And we're using Optilith. That's what we're using up there. We had a Swarovski up there too, but Optilith is nice. You can use the 30 power. It's a fixed power magnification, but it's a wide angle eyepiece, and it has a stadiometric ranging reticle in it, so you can actually direct in exactly where you're at. So, for example, if your target is like 40 meters to the right of TRP in Sector Alpha, which we all have drawn up on our range cards, but the guy's like maybe 20, 30, 40 feet off to the side. It's hard to tell without scale in wilderness type terrain, right? If you're, where you don't have any point of reference and it's just a lot of mesquite trees or something, very hard to identify exactly where they're at. from a TRP in terms of distance. So even for spotting, it's nice to have a reticle just to guide them in. Like, okay, it's 15 mils right of that rock next to TRP 7. And then you go straight there. And then when you get the big eye on them, if they ain't playing their game right, you're going to find them. Some of our spotters, my good friend Jamie, back at the ranch, who's at HDMR, is one hell of a spotter. And he was finding guys through the cat hole. You know what a cat hole is, guys? Come to the Combat Command Fire class. I'm not going to tell you what it is. But there's ways that guys try to evade detection, anti-reflection device type ideas, stuff like that. And if you come to the class, you will see how that actually works in the field. Unfortunately, I don't have another one scheduled yet, but I'm going to go back. I'm going to call that guy like tomorrow, and we're going to schedule another one of those classes because it was a lot of fun. And the guys were super pooped when they're done. And when they're sitting on the porch, they were barely just able to sit there. And we had great conversations. We had a very good speech, too, by the way. I call the Combat Command Fire class we just finished up is kind of the pinnacle of what I wanted to accomplish in the whole project from the beginning, to where I could give them the speech, the real speech on how things go. And it's not like what a lot of people think it would be. I'm not a fighting guy. I like peace. If I have to be in a fight, I want to win. I want to dominate their ass and win, guaranteed, if I have to be in a fight. However, when you're done taking a class like that, and you get to see the devastation that can happen from a specific skill set that's the way it is, when you see that, and we make sure that happens at this class, those guys will have a different idea. Very similar to like force on force training. If you go to tactical response, by the way, I have something else to show you guys. They do force on force. Guys come out of there with a different attitude. A lot of guys who used to think they're just itching for the chance, maybe they'll get a bad guy and get to smoke him. You know, a lot of guys have what they call itchy trigger fingers. What I try to convey to my guys, and what Jaeger tries to convey to his guys, is that be ready for the fight. And if there is a fight, you better dominate it. But don't be looking for one. Do everything within your power to avoid that situation, okay? If you can. Especially when you're talking about like these guys at the gun stores who think they're tough and they're going to fight off the Russians or whoever when they come. Man, if the Russians paratrooped in, I would just fight them, right? Guaranteed. But you know how the conversations go in those circles, and guys think they're going to do this, they're going to do that. Once you take this class, it'll readjust your sense of reality. And you will have a different idea. You guys will get the real speech if you come to that class. To come to that class, all you need, the only prerequisite we have is like any one of our other classes. I just need to vet your personality. You don't need any kind of special rifle equipment, nothing like that. I just need to know who you are. And you have to be an American citizen too. So seminar counts, 0 to deadly is a good one. If you've been to a live fire, you're going to have an incredible advantage because you can hide away farther than other guys. Some of the guys that took some of the live fire classes were like 500 yards away. When you're 500 yards away, even with good glass, looking for some kind of weird shape, and we get them all situated on their camouflage perfectly. They pick good hides by day 3. You're not going to find them. Most of the guys by day 3, when they told me exactly where they were, I got the glass on them. Me and my guys got on them, and the guys who put them in their hide all got glass on them, and we couldn't find them. There's no way you could see it. So you're basically hosed. So it's pretty fun. So that's something I wanted to share with you concerning how the weekend went. The Combat Command Fire class was an incredible success. The people that made it for the final speech, kudos to you, my brothers and sisters. Did I show the shirt yet? All right, so what I got here, you see that deal? On my awesome pectoral muscle is hobo, but this is the funny part. Check this out. I'm not like one of these t-shirt kind of guys, although I might come out with my own line of t-shirts one day. The Rex t-shirts. This is what's on the back of this t-shirt, guys. And I'm only double layered up because I was outside. It's actually going to freeze tonight. You see that? A cowboy with, what is that? He's got an M4 all tricked out with an IOR on it, riding a chicken. Isn't that awesome? Like, hobo outdoors, guys. I ain't never seen nothing that funny in a long time. And by the way, one of her endearment terms for me, I don't know where it came from, is chicken. Like, and you know how you call you off, hey babe, come over here, hey pumpkin, hey sweet pea. For me, it's chicken. I ain't no chicken. Where does that come from?
Your hairdo.
Oh, the hairdo, the rooster, yeah. I don't mind Foghorn Leghorn. I watch Looney Tunes. I like that. Like a rooster's cool. A rooster can kick some butt, but a chicken, like what the heck? Like, and she I think she's stuck with it because it's funny. Last thing I want to show off to you guys on the podcast or whatever this thing's called, live stream, before we take a bunch of questions, is something very special to me, which I didn't realize until I got through with it. And we did a review on this a couple weeks ago, but I finally got it in the mail because I showed up a little later than they could do it. Is this fighting pistol? A lot of guys will talk crap all day long. I'll tell you what, go ahead and take it and then we'll talk. It's a good class. You will learn a lot of things that you didn't know even existed. And I've been shooting, and it ain't a shooting class. It's up here. It's different. It's a little bit different. They do things different down there. That's why they have a lot of guys that go to their class, and when they come out, they are die-hard, incredibly loyal alumni. Ask anybody who's been there. They'll tell you, dude, take it. So I just got my diploma. I'm actually going to hang that on that wall. I've won a lot of awards, right, Babe?
Yeah.
My office is pretty full of stuff that I've done or whatever that was all awesome. But that one actually is going to go towards the top. I thought that was pretty cool. It's just a 2-day course. It's not something, and I'm a good test subject of guys who's hurting. You know, some guys like, oh man, I can't do this ninja stuff, rolling around. They're going to pour water on my head and kick you and yell at you and all this stuff. It's not like that. It's different. I mean, they might correct you. If you get highly sensitive little feelers, you might be offended. But I like being corrected when I'm wrong. And I like learning things that I didn't know would have been a thing. And I can't give it away. You guys have to see it. So that's the last deal there. All right, guys, let's manage some questions here. Let's get a little close and personal here. I'm going to move this giant, awesome Tier 1 sniper weapon system out of the way. A sniper weapon system, guys. Very tactical. Okay. By the way, I did not drink any beer. But I did eat some chicken. So how you guys doing? Night going good? Yeah, it's good. If you have any questions, now's the time. I'm going to shut it down. I haven't slept in like 75 hours. Hi, Rex and Mrs. Rex from Travis. How you doing? Which Travis is it? Oh, hey, how you doing, Travis? Oh man, there's like a million questions on here. You got to touch the button. Holy Moses. Okay.
Just talking back and forth.
We're going to start from the beginning here and just see if we got any good questions here. Okay, guys, trauma update when you have a chance. I've been waiting for serious issues. Okay, we'll give you we'll check it out. We'll see what you're talking about. My wife have to keep me on track. Yeah, that's normal. Sweet dust cover on a bolt gun. Yes. Could a 308 pistol and a 12.5-inch barrel be effective to 600 yards? Sure, if you figure out where it's going to go. I don't know. I mean, effective for what exactly? If you're going to do precision shooting, get a precision rifle. I mean, a lot of things can be retrofitted to hit. I mean, my old man, I could tell you some stories that my old man did extreme long-range revolver shooting on foxes at several hundred yards, shooting them. I mean, you can do some magic stuff. But a 308 pistol, I mean, is really it's an inside 600-yard kind of configuration, in my opinion. So, no, it's not a SAMI spec chamber. It's different in Europe. It's a CIP, if I remember correctly, is what they call it. Interesting break. Did I see that it has a forward angle on the ports, or did I see it wrong? I don't know. Let's look at it. Sorry, babe.
Okay.
There's a break right there. We do have one forward angle port right here, okay, in the back. The other two are kind of sideways. And if you want to read all about that on Steyr's website, they'll talk about it. There's reasons for that. It's an effective brake, and it ain't too horribly loud either. Let's see. It's a CIP chamber spec. That is correct. Interestingly, is the 6x42 IOR a contender for the 308? Absolutely. Most of the European sniper rifles are using optics that probably average around 6 power. The U.S. military for years went with 10 power optics. We're talking fixed power. They don't like variables for a long time. Now that there's good stuff on the market, they do variables. But fixed power is a lot more rugged. And we were the weird ones using a fixed 10. Like that was, everyone thought that was kind of a lot. But most of Europe for a long time used a fixed 6. You see a lot of fixed 4 power optics, even 3.5s. And so yes, the 6 is totally good for 308, no problem. Is the 6-42 as good as the 4x24? Or are you talking the IOR? It depends on the application, guys. You gotta always match it to what you're trying to accomplish. Again, if you want in-depth consultation on things like that, the seminar is a great place to go because we can actually sit down face-to-face and I can ask you the 20 question game and we'll figure out exactly what you need. But in order to know what that is, we have to know exactly what your application is.
Were you going to mention your class?
Oh yeah, this coming week, not this week, but the week after this week. What's the dates approximately?
8th through the 12th.
8th through the 12th is the combo event, the RX combo. It's a discounted class. That don't happen much. We're probably not going to do that very much. It's at Buffalo Gap in western North Dakota. And you can take the seminar and the live fire together for a pretty good discounted rate. Or if you missed the seminar, you want to catch one, or a live fire, if you've been to a seminar and you just want to come to the live fire, they're both available separately for sale as well on the website. So do check that out, and those are at discounted rates, guys. Nice facility. Did we talk about that earlier?
When we were trying to do the
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We didn't do it on
Forgive
the
me.
live
Yeah,
fire.
so we didn't do it on the live stream here. So at Buffalo Guest Ranch, Buffalo Gap Ranch is nice. It's the Badlands. You might have seen me doing a lot of shooting in Badlands, very similar to that. Very, very nice country. They got a big cowboy village there. They got rooms right on site. There's a restaurant and a bar and the whole 9 yards, and the rooms are pretty affordable. I think you can bunk 4 guys per room if you don't mind sharing with somebody, and you can split the cost. I think it's like $100 and some for a room, or $110 or something like that. But they're nice little rooms. They got TVs and stuff, it's a classy place. You'll like it. It's kind of a cowboy town kind of deal. You'll like it. What else were we having here? Man, so many questions. I love you guys. I want to stay up until 7 in the morning answering these. That's why I never sleep. Any of you know any of these like super, what do they call that stuff that they give to guys to make them not sleep? Awakeners? Besides, hey, you got some coffee or something? You want some coffee?
No problem.
I'm going to
You
sleep
need
pretty
some
soon.
sleep.
All right, yeah. I mean, she picks me up from the airport. I actually flew down to this one, and literally, when my butt hit the seat of the car, I fell asleep before I got my legs in, I think. It was ridiculous. All right, let's see, what do we got? So who's a better shot, Rex or Mrs. Rex?
Rex.
She's a darn good shot, guys. Really good. She'll group him in there. It's hard to argue when you got 5 shots on the pinky nail. How much better than that can you be? I can do the same thing. I mean, I'm more knowledgeable on stuff. But in terms of shooting, females have the upper hand on the actual pulling the trigger part. It's the way their brain is wired and the muscular control they have is at a different sensitivity than on a male for various reasons that only God in his wisdom designed for other applications to survive this 3-dimensional amazing universe we've been placed into. So females do shoot better. I'll tell you what, when we were in England at Bisley, right? Remember that?
Yeah.
We were shooting with the Royal Commandos or whatever out there, and they had Rangemaster Precision Arms. Very nice rifle. Incredible rifle. We're just shooting 600 yards. She beat both of us guys. She beat and I am sorry to say this if you're watching, my friend over there, the Royal Commando guy, the guy who's been a sniper for like decades or whatever. She beat him, and then she beat me. I mean, I just had surgery like a month before that, but still, I should have still kept my game up. But no, Mrs. Rex is a very good shot. You don't have a lot of rounds under your belt with a rifle, but it doesn't take that many if you have proper instruction. Come to my class. Just do it. Or not. Just watch video. It's $0. It's a lot less work. But if you actually do want to learn to shoot the rifle, it's nice to have someone watching you because everyone does something they don't see. Okay, what's a good company for starting reloading? Does it even matter? In all actuality, guys, most of the equipment stuff is not near as important as the guy running the equipment. For years and years and years, up until this day, I run the cheap RCBS dies, the normal dies. I ran for years a Lee single stage press that I got for $0. Inherited it from my father-in-law, which I think if I did buy it would be $27 or $20. And with that, I did stuff that nobody would believe if I told you. So I just don't talk about it. I mean, I could come on here and tell you all the cool shots I ever made before I ever found out there was such thing as video cameras, but that's not my point. My point is to explain how this stuff works. But you don't need super fancy reloading equipment. What you need is a discipline and attention to detail, and you need to know the technique using that equipment, like indexing bullets, like primer pocket consistency, how to make sure everything's consistent, what things to look for. It's an experience-based thing more than equipment-based. You can have the best equipment in the world and suck and have the worst loads ever. So just go with something cheap, man. Lee usually has good stuff. I still run an analog scale. Like, you know, the two things, like the weights over here and just slide the bar. I think it's a Forester. It's like an antique from the 50s or something. Doesn't matter, because it works. You don't need all this fancy jazz. Although I do like it. I got some pretty cool stuff downstairs that I never use. I still load them with like 1950s technology, but I'm still winning the game, man. All right, 338 Lapua Ackley approved for ELR. Okay, it'll give you a little edge. If external ballistics for competitive purposes is your priority, if that's your priority, Ackley improved is awesome. If having ammunition available all the time is your priority, if you're ever anticipating a kinetic situation where you're going to need that rifle for real life, don't ever get into Wildcats. Stick with like NATO rounds, stuff that you're going to maybe find. 300 Win Mag would even be better for that. But if you want to do ELR as a game, as a sport, which is what a lot of us do, I do that too. I got Wildcats. I think the 7.300 is a great caliber. 330 Ackley. There's the new Tejas rounds, which are incredible. The 460 Steyr. There's all kinds of really cool stuff coming out now, guys. Mirage ULR, you can talk to them. They're specialists in that category. But yeah, it's a good round. But a 330 Lapua Magnum in its normal configuration. Also, it totally depends on how you shoot the gun, right? Just like anything else. So you can have the way cooler round and not hit the target than the guy that had the less cool round because he knew where it was going. So it's not equipment based. It's skill set based. Oh yes, 30-06 is more capable, but 308 will last longer and cheaper to run. Less powder, less recoil. Yeah, 308 is a good round, guys. There's nothing wrong with it. What pounds test line do you use on your rod? Talking about a fishing rod, man? Do I have a fishing rod over there? Oh, the cats ate it. I actually go catfishing every afternoon in my living room. I sit back there and I got one of them birds that you buy from the thing that chirps when it moves. And I tie that bird on the end of my fishing pole, little Zebco or something. I think I run 10-pound monolithic line. If you want to know about my reel, and it's a Zebco, a real nice one. Did you guys know that the fishing company, you know those cheap Kmart Zebco fishing rods? they buy for little kids that are like $2 a piece back in the day or whatever. Did you know that they made like bombs for World War II? Because all the industry converted over. Like they went over to Zebco, they said, hey Zebco, nice fishing reels you got there. Guess what you're making now? You're gonna make 500-pound bombs to destroy Europe. They said, oh, okay, I guess we'll have to do that. Good story, huh? Oh, but the catfishing. So I attached that bird on the end of the pole. I cast it across the, and they'll grab it, and they'll fight. A cat will fight like heck to get that bird.
Bird's dead.
They're smart. They'll run around the table and wrap the line around the table. Yeah, they kill the bird. They rip that thing to a million pieces. Which multi-purpose thermal imaging device do you recommend? Multi-purpose? Well, I like a fully dedicated weapon sight. I like that. That's a good way to go. I think, a VAS that you would attach in front of a daytime optic is good. I like the pulsar, man. I've seen some of the current issue military stuff, the stuff that's like a couple $100,000. And in terms of image quality in the dark, like Pulsar does a really good job, man. Trijicon is awesome in some ways, like when you're talking about combat usability. I like stuff where you just turn it on and it's on. You don't gotta like page through stuff to find what the code is or whatever to get it turned on. I find Pulsar has incredible capability, just a little bit of a learning curve with all the buttons on there. Too many buttons. So that's my opinion. But I like the Pulsar XP50 Trail. I think it's $5,000, but if it's ever dark time and you get in a gunfight and you have one of those and the other guys don't, you're gonna live that night and they're not going to live. That's when the Russians invade, because we all don't like Russians, because neither, Nancy Pelosi and Hillary told us how scary they are. So, that's why we always talk about how bad the Russians are for our videos. I love 7mm 08. Wish it were in more common use. It's a great cartridge. When I reload, I weigh every charge of powder. What are your thoughts? Okay, so if I'm reloading precision long-range rifle ammo, I will weigh every charge of powder, and then I will verify that it all went into the case. Yes. Otherwise, I just throw them in there, man. For pistol loads, whatever, I check every fifth one. If it's, it depends on what you're doing. Back in the day when I would just go deer hunting, 0 to 400 yards, you're not going to be indexing anything. You can check every third or fifth just to make sure they're good. I do visual inspection on each one to make sure the powder's kind of like filling up the case in the same spot each time, so something didn't get jammed up, to make sure you put it in there. Yeah. Hey, what's up, Rex? Magnum Boys say. How you doing, Magnum Boys? You guys are awesome. Pulsar does offer multiple models. Do they? Well, then, why don't they have the one with... All right, Pulsar, listen up here. I want the features of the XP Trail 50 with the picture-in-picture deal that I can zoom in on. First focal plane mode. This is all digital, so it's not hard to program it that way. But I want my stadiometric ranging reticle to be proportional to the target in like a first focal plane reticle would be. And I want a standard mil dot deal so I can just use holdovers, okay, for long range. Those reticles are set up all goofy in there, man. Like you need to get, like, Pulsar, call me up. I'll hook you up. I will help you make the best long range one of your things you've ever made. I know exactly what you need to do. And it will be cowboy proof. And it will be army guy proof too. Cowboys and army guys are kind of the same category. Sometimes they are the same. We don't like screwing around with the technology too much. When you need it, you just hit on and then it's on. That's a very nice feature. And I know it's on when you turn it on, but there's too much stuff in there for what I need it for. But it's an incredible tool. It's really good. Your longest prairie dog takedown with your Ruger Model 1, the Ruger number 1 and 375 H&H Magnum. Actually, that's a good question. It was either 500 yards or 475 yards. And that's just Kentucky windage, holding over 375 H&H Magnum on Prairie Dog. Who is this? How do they know I used to do that? Oh, I know it is. It's 188 Mule. How you doing, brother? What are you doing up awake? Oh, you have a job. I forgot about that deal. Yeah, you have goofy hours like me. He's my favorite. Thanks, Rex. 28 Nosler or 300 Norma Meg for ELR. Ugh. So those will both get you out to a mile. That's where ELR starts. Okay, guys? 28 Nosler will go good past the mile. 300 Norma will go a little past the mile, but you really need some big stuff. If you want to like dominate beyond a mile, I mean, getting to a mile is actually not as hard as you'd think. If you've got the right stuff going on. And I'm learning every day more and more how to get that to be more of a first round type situation. I've done first round hits before at a mile, but it's hard. But there is some technology now that's very helpful in certain ways to adjust your stuff. Come to the seminar, we'll tell you about it. Now, what else we got here? Thanks, Rex, for all your information that you talk about. You are a stud. I feel like I think that's like a great place to end the video. We'll just call that good there. I feel special now. You know, kids in my generation, especially the ones younger than me, need to hear that once in a while. We need to feel warm fuzzies. We don't like cold pricklies, right? We want to hear warm fuzzies. That was a warm fuzzy. Thank you. Oh, we have a couple of funny guys here. Okay. Are you familiar with dry firing while balancing a coin at the muzzle of the technique? Yeah, they do that in basic training. And so what you do is you just get down on your elbows, like from a prone position with the rifle, wrap up in the sling, and on the end of the barrel on the M16, what you do is you balance like a coin on there. And it's kind of hard to get it perfectly. Your buddy has to do this. They balance it, and you keep your sights on the target, and you go through the trigger squeeze, and you should be able to make it click without the penny falling off. It's hard to do if you haven't done it before. It teaches shooters follow through. It teaches you that after that hammer drops, you don't do nothing. You stay like a rock. There's reasons for that, and we'll show you why. How far is a 7 Remington mag good for? If you're just shooting targets, guys, it'll get you up to a mile and farther than that. It depends on what size animal you're shooting. If you're hunting or it depends on the application. But for target hunting, which is what I assume you're asking for, 7mm Magnum is pretty reliable at a mile, maybe 2,000 even. Depends on how stable your bullet is. When shooting on a mile, which rifle would you give you the best accuracy between the 6.5 Creedmoor or the 338 Lapua? Okay, 6.5 Creedmoor basically loses its gas at 1400 with most atmospheric conditions and most generic loads. That means that your bullet is now going through the transonic barrier unless everything is perfect. Unless your chamber is perfectly aligned with your bore and everything else is perfect and your ammunition is good, your bullet will tumble. Your bullet will hit the ground sideways. Where's my sideways bullet? Do I have it in my pocket?
Why do you have a sideways bullet in your pocket?
I'm weird like that. Yeah, I got one someplace. But if you look at our Facebook page or if you watch the ELR video we did showing you the ELR class, we had a chick out there just killing it with the 6.5 Creedmoor in a mile. But the bullets are hitting sideways sometimes. If it's a little farther there, all of a sudden your cone of fire opens up too much. Your max supersonic range is your max kind of guaranteed distance to where your bullet should perform normally. After that, you can get farther, but you have to maintain dynamic stability, which is harder to do in a 6.5 Creedmoor due to the longer proportionality of the bullet, the way it has to be configured to give you that good BC. A 338 Lapua Magnum can be proportionately a little fatter and wider and be balanced out in a way to where you have less of a moment arm. Come to the seminar, we'll tell you about it. You like me answering questions in my sleep, guys? Is this fun or what? An Armalite AR-10 video would be cool, or outfitting an AR-10 for DMR could be useful. Hey man, I got a lot of videos with AR-10s. Fully equipped for DMR. They're up for years. Check them out. Hi, Rex and Jordan. Randall here from Ohio. Winter coming soon, I bet, for you guys. Yes, Friday it's going to snow. I hope it snows for the live fire. I need snow live fire footage. That's what I need. I actually should do an ECW class out here. Extreme cold weather. Suggestions on good scope shooting paper 6.5 Grendel. If you're a target shooter, get a good scope with good magnification. Sometimes having that nice wide degree angle eyepiece isn't helpful. The loophole Mark IVs are good in a lot of ways for stuff like that because you know how they're kind of fussy. You got to be exactly behind the scope to see anything through it because it's got that real narrow field of that real narrow eyepiece angle. That'll actually get you centered behind the scope. But if you're really trying to be precise, it's a good way to go. The loophole Mark IV. They also made a straight 30 power that was good. There's a million things on March. Depends on your budget, man. Again, we do offer full consultation at the seminars. If you want to go to those, at Rex Defense is the name of the company that we do that for. Good weight for a tactical rifle. Depends on how much of a wuss you are. My tactical rifle is usually well above 12 pounds. In between 20 and 12 pounds. That's just reality. I like stuff that control. The heavier the rifle, the better, in my opinion. I want to watch my bullet the whole way it's going out there on critical shots so I can spot my own trace. I don't always trust that a spotter might not blink his eyes and miss exactly where the bullet went. I like to watch it myself. A heavier rifle will make that more possible. 87 degrees Fahrenheit today. That's nice, Thomas. Why would you say something like that? It was actually nice up here.
That's nice.
It was like 70 degrees.
60.
It's just going to be like freezing tonight, that's all. You may have AR-10 vids, but do you have an open sight rolling block 4570 long range vid yet? I have a rolling block 4570, you talking on the Remington rolling block? Oh, that would be great. I got a trapdoor Springfield. I got a Sharps in there. Hey, want to grab the Sharps real quick, babe? You know what I'm talking about. You guys are gonna like this. I probably should actually drink water sometime too. I hear you need water to live. I'm going on a 12-second break, guys. I'm going to sit here for 12 seconds. Oh, okay, my 12 seconds is over. This would be a cool review. This is how they got her done back in the old days, right here. See that? Pretty cool, huh? That is a beautiful weapon. So, on these, if you ever grab one, don't just start clicking on stuff. There's a procedure, okay? You got to give her at least a click. So your firing pin doesn't drag on the block when you drop the block. Otherwise, you break the firing pin off. One click on the hammer. Then you drop the block. See? See inside here? Watch when it goes back up. That's what, come on in, babe. That's what seals up, that's your bolt. It's your block there. It's a falling block, right? Stick your cartridge in the hole back here. Your hole there. And then you just you pull this back up and then it's locked in. Then you go ahead and click her back all the way. And then you got 2 triggers on this model. The rear one makes the front one, you see how it moved? Now it's a hair trigger. And on this kind of stuff, guys, I wouldn't dry fire it. Although the modern steel's a lot better than it used to be. Of course, you got the flip up sights like this. And you can move this up and down quite a bit. And they have a lot of different apertures you can use. There's a peep sight back here. You can see a little hole up here. And you just write down where your dope is in accordance to the little numbers on the side and keep a little log. They've been using these in the 1870s, guys. This is a Pedersoli in 4570. Very nice rifle. When I grew up, the first time I ever hit 1,000 yards on my first shot was when I was a little kid at a black powder cartridge shoot using a Remington rolling block, which is even older and not as cool as this. I think rolling blocks are really cool. I always liked them. But these guns will shoot every bit as good, believe it or not, as your fancy super in vogue whatever Justin Bieber equipment that they run nowadays. I'm gonna get in trouble. Hey, look, a glass of water. Gettysburg Tavern. I bought this at National Battlefield there when I went to Pennsylvania. That's why I felt like I was going to die. I didn't drink any water again. It's funny, at the classes, I'm always yelling like every 10 seconds. Hey, drink a bottle of water. If someone starts slurring their speech, hey, you need to drink like 2 bottles of water while I'm watching you. Oh, I'm good. No, you're not. You're going to drink water. And then the whole time, I don't drink any water because I'm too busy thinking about everything else. Isn't that weird what we do to ourselves? Is it a flintlock? No, this is a cartridge gun, man. You stick a cartridge in there, 4570 metallic cartridge, just like your modern stuff. You can buy ammo at Walmart. So this is not a flintlock. It's one of the old cartridge guns. Good night, guys. Time for bed. Thank you, Rexter. That's actually a good plan. We're going to hit the sack, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. May the Schwartz be with you. And when will next year's class be posted? Oh, man. I should probably call the ranch. I'll try to get that in the next couple days, guys. If you do want to reserve a spot for the class, we'll keep it at the same price this year. You can contact us via the email. What's your email for the outfit, babe? Mrs.RexReview. If you email her at gmail.com, Mrs.RexReview, not plural reviews. Better be sure. It's on the website.
Yeah.
Go on the Rex Defense website, and on there is contact information. Contact Mrs. Rex. And if you want to save a spot for any of the classes that are coming that are not yet posted, she'll get you squared away and on the list first off. Okay, guys? All right?
That email is info. Defense.
Yeah, it's info@Rex Defense or something is the email. Just check out the website. So if you want to reserve a class, we'll make mechanisms in place when we have the new website roll out very soon here, and you'll get that done. All right, we love you guys. You have a